Later, this is KTTC News.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Cami Raisler. Caitlin is on assignment. We have an update on the custody battle for the children of missing Winona woman Madeline Kingsbury. Adam Frayville, the father of Madeline's two children, made an admission that the children are in need of protective services. The children will remain with Madeline's parents until a custody hearing date is set. The custody trial, which was originally set for tomorrow, has been canceled. The Rochester Police Department has seen an uptick in drug overdoses in the community, responding to 4 overdoses in less than 72 hours, one of them being deadly. According to RPD, a 33-year-old man was found unresponsive at a drug treatment center in northwest Rochester on Thursday. That was around 5:30 that afternoon. He received 3 doses of Narcan before officers arrived. He became responsive and refused medical transport to the hospital. Now on Friday, officers responded to 2 separate overdoses, one being a 22-year-old man and the other a 24-year-old woman. Then on Sunday, shortly after 6 that morning, officers responded to a home in northwest Rochester where a 17-year-old boy was found unresponsive. Narcan was administered before officers arrived, and officers administered an additional dose. RPD worked to provide non-arrest pathways to treatment and recovery for those struggling with drug addiction. The police department also warns drug sellers they can be held responsible for overdose deaths. Time now for a quick check on weather. Our chief meteorologist, Nick Jansen, he joins us live from the weather patio today. And you've probably already noticed we have some new graphics here at KTTC. We also have some new branding to talk about, specifically with weather, right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right, Cami. We are no longer Weather Authority. We are the First Alert weather team. We always want to bring you the first alert in terms of rain, snow, maybe some sleet, or even air quality, right? So we want you to depend on us to bring you that first alert. And hey, we have that today. Air quality index been poor today. We've been in the orange, if not the red. So unhealthy for all groups. Right now, just unhealthy for sensitive groups outside. As we look at that air quality index, we look at the upper Midwest as a whole. The red right now off to the east of the Mississippi River, but we're expecting things to still be a little on the poor side of things through the day coming up tomorrow. Current alerts, we do have that air quality alert in effect. It's been extended now until 6 p.m. Tuesday. So that'll be for all of southeast Minnesota. This is not in effect for northern Iowa, just for southeast Minnesota. We look at some of our Listen Out Alive cameras right now across the region. We still have those hazy, sunny skies, and that will continue here tonight. Temperatures currently in the Med City and Rochester at 83. Dew points are in the lower 60s. It is humid outside here. Temperatures locally still in the mid 80s. We have 87 now in Mason City. It's 86 in Austin and 82 in Winona. Future track radar, a couple stray thunderstorms will be possible. Right now, everything west of Highway 52. Storms are moving east to west here tonight. This is all right along a cold front. It could spark some showers and thunderstorms maybe late tonight into early tomorrow morning. As we look ahead here tonight, temperatures will hold steady. Pretty warm here. We're looking at the mid 60s for overnight lows here tonight. Coming up in your full first alert forecast, we are tracking the chance for some showers and thunderstorms potentially on the way for Tuesday. And then some seasonal temperatures start to move in through the rest of the week. That's all coming up in your full forecast. Cami.
All right, Nick, thank you. This is new today. Rochester public transit workers are no longer going on strike. Their union representative reached an agreement with the city. With a tentative agreement in place, RPT will continue with regular scheduled transit operations and no disruption to service is expected. RPT union members are expected to vote to ratify the contract as early as Sunday. We have an update on travel in southwest Rochester near the Rochester Towers condominiums that had an immediate evacuation on last Friday. 2nd Street Southwest, which had previously been closed, is now open again for travel. Northbound lanes of 5th Avenue to 2nd and 3rd Street South will remain closed until construction materials have been removed. As of right now, residents are not allowed back in, but some in certain units can return as soon as tomorrow. Well, they are calling it a once-in-3-generations investment. Some historic plans are in the works in downtown Rochester, and it's all spearheaded by Mayo Clinic. Here's a look at what could change for Mayo's downtown campus over the next several years. The plan proposes the addition of several new buildings for both clinical and operational purposes to allow full integration of digital technology. Well, this morning, Mayo officials announced its newest initiative. They're calling Bold Forward Unbound. The team has been working out of the Harwick building since May. Most recently, the Mayo Clinic Board of Trustees approved some first steps like site surveys and street studies. The full plan has not been approved, and Mayo Clinic officials could not say just how much it's going to cost.
We are planning and hope to make a major investment in downtown Rochester. Now that is exciting for the city of Rochester, for the people who live here, who depend on Mayo Clinic's continued investment and growth to support their business. And we want to share that excitement and share it in a transparent way.
Unbound leaders say this project will take over at least the next 6 years. Construction and redevelopment is expected to begin early next year. Police in Zumbrota are looking for a missing teen. They say he's believed to be in the Rochester area. We have a picture of him here. Officers say 15-year-old Kyle White left his home on foot around 5:30 last Thursday, so on June 1st. He hasn't been seen since. White is about 6 feet tall, around 135 pounds, with brown eyes and brown hair. If you've seen him or know where he might be, you are asked to call the Goodhue County Dispatch and ask to speak with a Zumbrota police officer. An Albert Lee firefighter is recovering from injuries after an overnight house fire. Crews were called to report of a large fire on South Broadway Avenue just after 12:15 this morning. A garage behind a house was actually burning. A fire was spreading to the back of a home there. We are told the owner was out of town at the time. A firefighter was treated for a minor burn. The cause of the fire remains under investigation, with damages estimated at about $10,000. Travel will be impacted in northeast Rochester soon due to construction of a new roundabout. Crews will begin work on Viola Road Northeast as well as Cassidy Drive Northeast. This starts on June 12th. The first phase of construction is expected to last until July 21st and will impact many different travel plans on those two roads, and traffic will be detoured through actually the Century High School grounds. Century Hills Drive will also be closed from Viola Road Northeast to 21st Street Northeast. Traffic will be detoured through Shannon Oaks Boulevard Northeast. Again, that starts on June 12th and is expected to last until July 21st. In other traffic news here, there will be changes to travel in Goose Egg Park in northwest Rochester in order to provide a safer connection between the school building there and the park. Starting today and lasting throughout the summer, changes in traffic will begin, including closing down nearby roads, including the complete closure of the west side of the park on 2nd Avenue Northwest. New traffic pattern signage will be placed for a temporary amount of time. Former Vice President Mike Pence may soon have a major announcement sometime this week. Plus, do both Biden and Speaker McCarthy feel the debt ceiling bill was a victory on both sides? When we come back, our White House correspondent will tell us everything we need to know. And in your first alert weather forecast, our chief meteorologist Nick Jansen will join us with the latest. This video shot earlier today by our very own Chuck Sibley in Albert Lee. We'll be right back.
Stop right there. This week.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is officially joining the 2024 presidential race. According to the Federal Election Commission, he filed the paperwork Monday for his bid for the Republican nomination. Pence is set to formally announce his candidacy on Wednesday ahead of a CNN presidential town hall that evening. This sets up a potential clash with his former boss, Donald Trump. The two had a falling out when Trump tried to cling to power after losing the 2020 presidential election. And speaking of the former president, the federal grand jury in the Donald Trump classified documents case is expected to meet again this week. It's part of the Justice Department's investigation into the former president's handling of classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Prosecutors working for the special counsel have been presenting the grand jury with evidence and witness testimony for months. It's unclear whether prosecutors are prepared to seek an indictment. The DOJ has not commented on the status of the investigation. Trump maintains that he has broken no laws and that the investigation is politically motivated. Chuck Todd, the host and moderator of Meet the Press, is stepping down from the show in the coming months. He made the announcement on Sunday's edition of Meet the Press after a 9-year run. He said, quote, "I've loved so much of this job, helping to explain America to Washington and explain Washington to America," end quote. Kristen Welker, NBC News co-chief White House correspondent, will succeed Todd when he officially leaves the show in September. Todd plans to remain at NBC in a new role as chief political analyst covering major events, and he will also focus on long-form journalism. The airline industry is bouncing back from the COVID-19 pandemic. The International Air Transport Association expects global airlines to make nearly $10 billion in profit this year. That's more than double what the industry's main lobby group forecasted in December. The revised number takes into account cargo revenues, China's reopening to tourists, and lower jet fuel prices. In total, the group says nearly 4.5 billion people will travel by air this year. That's slightly less than the number of passengers who flew in 2019, just before the pandemic.
Here's your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen.
Well, there he is, and here he is.
Yeah, look at that. Wow, that was pretty spiffy, huh?
Yes, we have new graphics, a new look here at KTTC, and we are debuting First Alert Weather.
Yeah, so First Alert Weather, we've been doing the First Alert Weather days for quite some time, but now it's a total new brand here at KTTC. We want to give you the first alert on a lot of things, and we have a air quality alert outside. Look at that. The day we issue or release all this stuff, we do have an alert outside, and we will continue to have air quality alerts in effect all the way through coming up tomorrow. Right now, air quality index, we are in the orange here, so unhealthy for sensitive groups. If you have those upper respiratory issues, allergies, asthma, anything like that, a little sensitive outside here with the haze and the smoke from the wildfires. Unhealthy for all groups up near Eau Claire, Black River Falls, off to the east here. And we were in the red earlier today at probably about 11 to close to the lunch hour here, but things have kind of bumped the winds up a little bit, so that's kind of been mixing some of those parcels down towards the surface. Air quality alert remains in effect all night tonight until 6 p.m. coming up tomorrow evening. That is for southeast Minnesota, not in effect for northern Iowa, but still you'll have some issues in northern Iowa coming up the next couple of days. Some of our Lewis and Ida live cameras, we can see the haze. It's not as thick as what it once was earlier today. I know just getting in this afternoon, you could really see the haze on our northwest camera. So what's happening here is we have all these wildfires out to our west, but we still have, I've been talking about it the past couple of weeks here, we have this upper level high that we just haven't been able to get rid of. And with this high that's to our north, that is pulling down. It's a clockwise rotation around a high. So all the smoke that is off to the east here will filter back in towards the west with that clockwise rotation around a high pressure system. So watch here the wildfire smoke the next couple days. We could potentially see, again, some really thick smoke by early on Wednesday morning, and then finally clearing conditions out by Wednesday. So I think Tuesday we're still pretty close to the orange, if not close to the red, with that air quality forecast for tomorrow. So notice we're still in the orange for unhealthy for sensitive groups, but we could be pretty close to that unhealthy range for everyone through the daytime hours tomorrow and then into early Wednesday. And I think things improve Wednesday, Thursday, and extending into the weekend. Outside currently, Lewis and Ida live camera, temperature is at 83 here in Rochester. Wind out of the east-northeast at 7 miles per hour. We still have dew points in the lower 60s. It's muggy outside. Temperatures here locally still in the mid-80s. Notice Owatonna at 75. Rain cooled air. We do have some rain in some spots here. West of Highway 52, that is through Steele and the Freeborn and some portions of Mower County. This is all right along a cold front here. That's why our rain is moving east to west, because this front is diving down from our northeast. What to expect here? Your headlines tonight, mostly cloudy and mild. Tuesday, still some hazy skies, some isolated storms, and then seasonal temperatures kind of done with the 80s for the time being coming up the next couple days. So future track here tonight, pretty quiet. We look towards tomorrow morning. We could have some showers start to kind of develop by the early morning hours. They start to move down south of I-90 by about the lunch hour, and then a couple pop-up thunderstorms throughout the afternoon tomorrow. As we look here, isolated chances for showers and storms on Tuesday, Friday, and into Saturday. We'll have those dry conditions then for Sunday and Monday, so into early next week. Temperatures here tonight, 64 for the overnight low, a couple stray showers and storms late tonight. Tomorrow, isolated chance for some thunderstorms, partly sunny. Wind out of the northeast about 5 to 10 miles per hour. 7-day forecast here, 80 for the high on Tuesday, 76 then on Wednesday. Temperatures will continue to be in the upper 70s Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Cami.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. President Biden has made the final signature on the bipartisan debt ceiling bill. It is now a done deal, but what exactly do the contents of this legislation look like, and do both sides feel it was the right decision? Our White House correspondent John Decker has been following this deal. He joins us now live. So, John, President Biden and Speaker McCarthy are each claiming victory for the bipartisan debt ceiling deal. Are they both winners for the deal that was signed by the president?
Well, I think that both Speaker McCarthy and President Biden can do a victory lap. In fact, President Biden took his victory lap on Friday evening when he spoke from the Oval Office, talking about how he stuck firm to Democratic values and still got an extension in the debt ceiling. And then Speaker McCarthy, he can certainly claim victory. After all, where we were now versus where we were a month ago, two different places. A month ago, the White House, President Biden, we're both saying that President Biden wouldn't negotiate over the debt ceiling. And here we are a month later, President Biden, not only did he negotiate, but he also conceded quite a bit during the course of those negotiations.
So we, of course, have to talk a little bit more about what this legislation contains. And are there some Democratic and Republican lawmakers that are disappointed with the agreement?
Well, that's right. You know, you have those members of the Democratic Party who consider themselves progressives. They're not pleased with this agreement. Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, they feel that President Biden conceded too much during these negotiations, too many budget cuts. And that's the reason why they voted against this debt ceiling legislation. And then you had Republicans on the right, members of the so-called Freedom Caucus. They're not pleased with this because they feel that Speaker McCarthy did not extract enough concessions from President Biden during the negotiations. That's the reason why they voted against this legislation. But I think that's the definition, really, of a compromise when you have both parties, at least members of both parties, disappointed with the outlines, the contours of what was ultimately agreed upon.
All right, John Decker joining us live from Washington, D.C. this afternoon. Thanks so much, John. We appreciate it. We have to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
KTTC weather brought to you by Furniture Super.
Law enforcement officials in Sunnyvale, Texas are searching for the suspect involved in a shooting that killed one person late Sunday. 4 people were injured. 3 of those are children. According to the Gun Violence Archive, this weekend alone, nearly 100 people died from shootings in our country. Doctors on the front lines of the crisis liken it to a deadly illness plaguing the United States. Josh Campbell reports.
This is the #1 cause of death of American children, which is just unacceptable and astonishing.
Those on the front lines saving children's lives, fed up with America's gun violence epidemic.
To you, gun violence is a disease.
Yes, and the country is the victim in this case.
The outrage felt by pediatrician Dr. Nicole Webb on display across the country this past weekend as demonstrators took to the streets demanding an end to the endless gun violence ravaging the nation.
Enough is enough.
Let's take it upon ourselves to inspire action so that students across the country can worry about homework and tests, not gun violence.
National Gun Violence Awareness Day began after the brutal killing of 15-year-old Hadia Pendleton on a Chicago playground in 2013. Murdered 1 week after marching with her school's band in a parade celebrating Barack Obama's second presidential inauguration. Pendleton's mother speaking out.
There have been thousands of other families that unfortunately have joined this fraternity that no one wants to be a part.
But tens of thousands more have been impacted since her daughter's death. More than 18,000 people have been shot and killed so far this year. The federal government calling gun violence a public health crisis. And while guns are often politically polarizing, most Americans surveyed in a recent CNN poll agree gun control laws should be stricter. American health professionals say common sense, evidence-based safety efforts should not be partisan at all.
States with red flag laws see fewer high-profile mass shootings. States that have closed loopholes in the background check system see fewer shootings involving illegally obtained weapons.
A recent troubling trend, guns in the hands of children. In recent weeks, at least 9 teens arrested for bringing guns on campus, including a Phoenix student arrested with an AR-15.
The most helpful thing anyone can do is store their weapons securely. Your child may be comfortable around the gun. It may even be something that you purchased as a gift. It may be something that's really important to your family. They have a bad day at school. They're feeling down, and they make a decision that they can't recover from.
But even basic evidence-based safety efforts have drawn the ire of America's gun lobby.
The NRA said in this tweet that someone should tell self-important anti-gun doctors to stay in their lane. How do you respond to that?
The only lane that matters is safety. Every American citizen should be free to live their life without the fear that they might be shot to death.
Are you anti-gun?
No, I'm not. Anyone who's actually really interested in what is going to keep a majority of people safe is not going to take that approach.
And while major national reforms remain stalled, the killing continues. Doctors have a grim analogy.
The story goes, somebody's sort of sitting, having a picnic by the river, and you start noticing a body floating down, stream. So you fish it out, and you resuscitate that person, and then a few minutes later there's another one and another one. Pretty quickly you stop trying to fish the bodies out of the river and you go upstream and try to figure out why they're ending up in the river in the first place. So we know gun violence is preventable, and yet we keep focusing on treating the aftermath.
Josh Campbell, CNN, Los Angeles.
And back to that Sunnyvale, Texas shooting. The suspect has not yet been found, but was seen leaving the scene in a black car. We'll be right back.
This hot rod is really bugging.
Hey, welcome back. A surprise guest at Taylor Swift's concert in Chicago Sunday night left her speechless.
While Swift was talking to the crowd, she suddenly started coughing and turned her back to the crowd. She then announced that she had swallowed a bug.
Oh.
Saying, "Oh, delicious," which got a big laugh from the crowd. Seemingly embarrassed, Swift asked the crowd, "Is there any chance that none of you saw that?" She was eventually able to shake it off and continue on with the show.
Do you think it was some of the gnats that were bothering us playing golf on Saturday?
We played golf at Maple Valley, and
wow.
we got our protein.
Yeah, I think we ate quite a few different gnats.
Quite a few bugs.
Maybe they traveled all the way down to Chicago.
Maybe. The Root River, the bugs love it there.
Sure
Thanks
do.
for joining us. We'll see you back here at 6.
Have a good night.